Soham. Welcome to College Vibes, our very own podcast by College Counselling Coach. As I spoke to you earlier, the aim of this podcast is to help students who are preparing for admissions for undergraduate courses to colleges abroad. And we'd like to learn something from your journey. And as with all podcasts, we begin with our standard question. Please tell us something about yourself, where your school has been, where you've grown up, and how you've entered college. So, over to you, Soham.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Firstly, this is a wonderful opportunity. And okay, so my name is Soham Chandrachud. I'm currently 19 years old. I have been born and brought up in Pune for around 8 years. Before that, I was kind of traveling all over India. My father being from an army background, I used to shift a lot in my childhood. But then I got settled in Pune after 2012, and I was there in the Bishop School camp for majority of my secondary and high school, which has been a beautiful experience in itself. And from a very young age, I was drawn to the concept of drawing or creating. So I've tried my hands in a lot of different things. I tried engineering per se in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, but it didn't quite work out for me. So, but drawing has always been a hobby or passion of mine. So I think so from a very young age, I started designing or just trying my hand at what creative things per se I can try. And that has led up to me actually pursuing my degree in design. And that's just a brief introduction about myself.
Wonderful. Soham, I'd like to know what is the course that you are pursuing currently and
Sure.
how you've landed there and your journey in terms of preparation for coming into this college.
Of course. Perfect. So as of now, I am studying at the University of Arts London, the London College of Communication, that being that being the college under the university umbrella, and I'm pursuing the degree of BA honors in graphic and media design. So graphic and media design in itself is quite specific or a sort of a sub bracket to the whole field of designing, which in itself is quite vast. It doesn't seem like that when you like start or like when you're first introduced to design, but designing is huge in its application and its field of study. So I initially started. Always had an inclination to drawing as well as science. So that was my two offshoots when I was in ninth. So academically I pursued science even for my 11th and 12th in ICSE. But at the same time, I always kept drawing and designing as part of my daily routine. And that sort of built up. I gave a lot of different entrance exams for designing when I actually decided that that's what I want to pursue for my undergraduate. So I tried applying to a few colleges abroad as well as in India. So after my 12th, I did a year of graduation in MIT ID, that is in Pune. And after, like, during that time, during my foundation year there, I also applied to a few colleges abroad. For the sake of it, I wanted to give myself an opportunity to see if I could apply and get into a university abroad, because that was obviously a dream for me before actually coming here. So I did try my hand at that, and fortunately I got into this college along with a few other. But then the whole process trickled down. I chose this college, and then that part of my life started. A different adventure or a different journey
So you are one
started.
of our unusual interviewees in the sense that, first of all, you are the first student who's pursuing design in London.
Okay.
And therefore, I mean, not only is your subject different, but your journey, your path has been different. So you just told me that you applied to universities abroad. You also said you applied for colleges in India. And again, the second part why it's unusual is that you've already done 1 year of college in India at MIT in Pune. Where
Yes.
is MIT? Can you tell me that?
It's Maharashtra Institute of Technology, and they
Okay.
do have a lot of different campuses. Mine was the Institute of Design in Loni, Pune.
Okay, so you did your 1 year of MIT in Pune, and then you moved on to applying for I don't know what. So how was it that after the first year you came to this college? And before we started this interview, you told me that you were a little late in applying for colleges, and that is why first
Yeah.
MIT and then Pune. So sorry, then London. So can you please explain to me how this happened very briefly, please?
Okay, sure. So I think so. It was in early 2020 that I actually decided that I wanted to give it a hand or give it a try to apply abroad and try my opportunities there. So I started my research in 2020, 2021. I think so in December 2021, I did my application for the very first try. So that was my first try while I was in, while I was in 12th. Yes, while I was in 12th. And I applied to a few colleges, mainly in Australia, Europe, Canada, and UK. For some reason, US was never part of my options, so I never considered US for maybe the location or in general the politics there. But I was never inclined towards going to the US. It didn't seem as my dream place. So I did my application process, but at the same time, I knew that I was quite late. I started the application process in December, and for a lot of colleges, especially for arts and design, the period ends by January or February at max.
That's the
So I was
previous
not
year.
very yeah, that was in
Yeah.
2021. So I
Yeah.
was 2021 December to 2022 January, February.
Right.
So I was not very sure about my chances of actually going abroad. So I did want to have some backup options in India itself. So I gave my entrance exams for design. So that was the NID entrance exam, the IIT, that is UC entrance exam, and different private colleges as well. So that was MIT, maybe Srishti, UID, etc. So I think
And
so.
then
It was
how
in
come
March.
after a year of doing MIT, you were able to come to the second year straight away in this college? I presume you are in the second year in the college in London right now.
Actually, like I'm sorry for the confusion there, but I'm
Okay.
doing my first year here. So
All right.
so I was unable to transfer my credits from first year of MIT to this particular university. They do not
Okay.
do so for some reason. But at the same time, it just planned out for me. It didn't seem very unusual because usually in India we have the concept of having an undergraduate for 4 years.
Right.
So I did do my foundation on my first year in MIT in India.
Okay.
And here the graduation or the undergraduation usually lasts for 3 years, especially BA courses.
Right. Right.
So
So,
overall, my
Soham,
graduation did
from what I
have 4 years.
understand is that you did your 1 year in MIT and you went through the regular process of applying to this. Uh, can you tell me the name of the college again, please?
University of Arts London.
University of Arts London. You
Yes,
applied for it like you would maybe after a class 12, and you've come through the
yes,
regular process of selection there, right?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
great, great, Soham. That is the clarity I wanted.
Sure.
So now, again, like you said, that US was never on your wish list. So how did you decide your geography, the first thing, and how did you select that this is the major or this is the main subject that you would like to follow?
Yes, absolutely. So, in the two-part question, I would say, as for the geography, I didn't shortlist it beforehand, and I think so that is one of my advice, maybe later in the interview, that having a priority set, whether if it is the place you want to go to or the type of major you want to do, that actually helps with the application process. So, like I did not choose a particular geography, so I applied to a lot of different places. I applied to maybe I applied to Canada, a few universities in Canada, in UK, a lot in Europe, Germany per se, and in Australia as well. So my application process was quite spread out and quite in a ruckus or in a haywire state at
Okay,
some point.
okay,
But uh, it finally dealt down to the university that I wanted to go to. So more than the actual location, it was the particular university, its ranking, its reputation, whether I actually see myself studying there, the course structure, and that's how I finalized the shortlisted my university list. So it
all
was
right.
maybe like two universities in Australia, one in Canada, and one in UK. And depending on where I get and how other factors played out, I would go there. So that was my whole perspective or intention behind it.
Okay. And selecting your major, you've already told me that, you'd always been into drawing and designing. And while you chose science, I mean, this was always one option that you wanted to exercise and therefore design.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, 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 absolutely, yes.
Okay. Okay. So when did you, and again, coming back to the same question, I mean, we usually ask, when did you start preparing for your admission process? Could you tell us that? And you've already told us you are late. You were late in applying for these
Yeah.
admissions. So you started applying in December, you said.
Yes, December of 2021 is like where I actually like took a stand and took actionable steps towards maybe my profile building or maybe my application process. So that's, I think, so when I gave my IELTS exam for my English proficiency test. And that's when I started building my profile in a few aspects. So I did my first application process in December 2021, and I think so I started the second one while I was in MIT in September or October of 2022.
All right. So this naturally flows into the next question. What is the advice that you would like to give students who would like to plan a course of action, for applying to colleges abroad?
Sure, absolutely. I think so. A lot of things that come into play when you actually apply to colleges abroad is just going through the requirement list, which is quite extensive sometimes. My course is quite subjective in that sense. It does not have a lot of technical do's and don'ts. So you do not need to have a 90 percentage in your 12 boards exam to actually come to this university. It's mainly focused on the essay that you have written and the portfolio that you submit. So in that case, I was quite lucky. Irrespective of my marks, I was able to apply to a lot of different universities because of my field that I've chosen.
Great.
But in terms of profile building, apart from the general exams that you have, that maybe IELTS, GMAT, I'm not sure for other fields, but there is a lot of extracurricular activities that do come into play, whether it is affecting the application directly or indirectly, and just like giving you that exposure, or just you being able to write it in your statement of purpose or your CV and resume. And in that
Right.
sense, I would just say, like, in school we have a lot of academic pressure, but it is always a good option to explore as many things as possible, whether it be doing NGOs or just being part of extracurricular clubs, maybe doing MUNs, being part of a different society. That's it. That would
Right.
be the best course of action.
Right. Soham, my next question to you is that beyond the profile building, is there anything, any other advice that you'd like to offer study abroad aspirants? I think you missed out the most important thing, that because you started late, you had to sort of settle in for a college in India and then apply in time. So any
Yeah,
advice on that, as to one has to stay abreast
for
with
sure.
the last dates for submissions and apply in time.
Sure. So yes, of course, you have said it correctly. Apart from the profile building, there is another big aspect to the application process, that is research and just being sure with the deadline and when you actually apply. So I would say research does play a huge part in it, whether it is deciding the location, the geography, the university, or the major that you're going for. And in general, helps you have a clarity in the process, because application process can be very overwhelming with the amount of choices you have to make, with the amount of information you have. So having that clarity or being able to prioritize why you want to go abroad will absolutely help you. And starting early is obviously a good choice. So for me, because I in my second round of application had already given my IELTS, had already finished my 12, so I had my grades in. So those aspects did not actually matter much to me, whereas other students had to like wait for their 12 grades to be able to apply for visa, etc. So of course, like, having things sorted out early is a huge plus point, whether it be your choices, whether it be your statement of purpose or other factors of your application. And obviously it will just help you have a more relaxed time during the application process, whereas in
Right.
my case, the very first time I tried, it was filled with anxiety and a lot of ifs and maybes and buts.
Right. So, Soham, anything about your college that you'd like to tell us? Like, we had students who told us about Oxford, something called a subfask, where they wear a particular kind of gown which resembles an
Oh,
attire in Harry Potter. Then somebody in Purdue told us that there's something called a fountain run. Everybody runs through all the fountains, and the
oh
myth
wow.
has it that you'll pass all your papers if you go through that fountain run. So, anything, I mean, It doesn't have to be unusual or
So,
quirky, but anything about your college which you think, we only an insider would know of, and people wouldn't really try to figure out what's happening inside there. So anything that you'd like to share with us?
that's quite interesting. I think so. I would need some time to think about it. It's only been like 4 months for me here.
Okay.
In that sense, the university I'm studying at right now, it's University of Arts London. So it's a city campus that we have. So you have around 7 different colleges under that have been spread across London.
Right.
So it has its pros and cons. The con or the negative aspect of it being you won't experience the university life you so long for, living in a campus, being with friends around you, or being with your classmates 24/7.
Right.
So there's a lot of many times where you like spend the majority of the day, but at the end you have to come back to your accommodation, and in that
Right.
sense you have to travel back to your place. Traveling costs come up, so it's not a very wholesome uh, thing that you have seen in like maybe movies, etc. That you have a proper campus that you
Right.
belong to, but
Right.
in the same aspect there are a lot of pros as well. So
Okay.
now I don't have a limited space to call my campus or to call my home. It is the whole of London for me. And
Wonderful.
my college being so spread out, so it's 7 colleges spread across London, whether it be in the outskirts in zone 5 or whether it be in central London, that is zone 1. So it also gives me an opportunity to explore the campuses, and as I'm part of the same university, I can go to any college at any time, avail their facilities, and that's like
Oh,
a
that's
big
amazing.
plus point.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So
so
that,
like
that that's a
instead of
great point
having
you've brought out. That's a great point you've brought out.
yeah, so instead of having one library, I have access to 7 or 8 different libraries, and that actually plays a big role in my field, especially the research part of
Excellent.
it. The
Excellent.
Yeah, and even in terms of not only the libraries, but you have different workshops and activities. That is most of my academic year goes into activities and workshops rather than classes.
Right.
And now I have like 7 different colleges to like just schedule my day around. So whether I have to
Okay.
go to one college in the morning for one different activity and then go to the next one in the afternoon. So in that sense, it just gives me a lot more flexibility and opportunity.
That's fabulous, Soham. That's absolutely fabulous.
Yes.
I want to get into a rapid fire round with you, Soham. So, very quickly, Soham, please tell us your college.
So it is London College of Communication under the University of Arts London.
Okay. What is your major, the subject that you're pursuing?
It's BA honors in graphic and media design.
Okay. And what's your favorite subject in the subject stream that you're doing?
That's interesting. So I know it's a rapid fire, but just to explain design in itself or the college that I'm going to, we do not have subjects. We do not
Okay.
have exams per se. So it's
Okay.
a lot different than a traditional undergraduate degree.
Okay.
But in terms of specialization that I look forward to maybe pursuing in the future, I do focus or I do love publication design and multimedia design. That is maybe um, focusing on both aspects of design, that is digital and physical, and trying to incorporate them. So that's where my
Excellent.
specialization would take me. Yeah.
Excellent. In your admission prep journey, if there's one mistake that you would avoid if you were to redo it?
Mm. Again, being or having time by your side absolutely helps. So being organized, being systematic in what steps you need to take and how you need to apply, where you need to apply, and when you need to apply. So research and time management plays a huge role. So that's something I did not do the very first time, but I was able to do that the second time, and that helped me with my process and even the end outcomes as well. So
All
that
right.
is one advice that I would give.
And who was the biggest influencer? That's the last question. Who was the biggest influencer in your college application process, Soham?
Of course. So, of course, I would give all the credits to my parents. They have been a big confident boost. Like they've given me a lot of confidence in actually being able to apply and come here. I was quite anxious and nervous in the very first um, try, but their confidence, their support, and their help has helped me enormously. I would also give some credit to my college counselor or the counselor that helped me with the whole of with the whole process, whether it be applying or whether it be just doing or having clarity in what steps I need to take. So the whole process was a lot simpler and a lot quicker in that sense. I did not have to waste my time into researching things which aren't necessary. And as
Excellent.
well as my sister, like she also
Oh,
applied. Yeah, so she was also applying at the same time. So she's
okay.
currently doing her MBA,
All
and
right.
we were both in the same phase. And I just like followed her footsteps for that time being.
Wonderful. It's been great interviewing you, Soham. Thank you for taking time out to talk
Surely,
to us. And I hope that there are a lot of students who are going to benefit from whatever you've told us today. Wish you good luck and thank you so
of
much.
course. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.